Bienvenidos to our virtual Hispanic Heritage Month celebration. I am Santiago Alvarez, a graduating senior from Boca Raton Community High School and the Palm Beach County Council President and School Board Representative. At this time, our friends from Forest High School will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance in both English and Spanish, followed by the national anthem to be sung by Amanda Ferber from Alexandria W. Dreyfoos School of the Arts.
Present colors. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yo prometo lealtad a la bandera de los Estados Unidos de América, a la república que representa una nación ante Dios invencible con libertad y justicia para todos.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what the crown we have at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad light and bright stars the perilous fight, for the ramparts we watch, were so gallantly streaming on the rocket's red glare, above bursting they fought through the night, but our flag was still there. For say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the brave and the home of the brave.
Qué lindo, muchas gracias. Now please join me in welcoming Mrs. Patricia Trejo, the Administrative Program Planner for Hispanic Latino Studies for the School District of Palm Beach County.
Saludos a todos y bienvenidos. Gracias, Santiago. Y qué voz tan linda, Amanda. What a beautiful voice from one of my very own elementary school students. Estoy muy orgullosa. It's amazing how time flies. Well, tonight we join many across the nation in honoring and celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. Un mes de celebración de la linda cultura de nosotros, de nuestros hispanos latinos. This year's national theme invites Hispanics to embrace their backgrounds, to be proud of who they are and where they come from. There are varied ethnic, racial, cultural, and linguistic differences among Latinos. Los Hispanos Latinos bring together the rich culture, traditions, and customs of their diverse communities. And today, we hope to highlight that. We're also really excited to see so many of our students, not only here in the School District of Palm Beach County, but nationwide. Many of them are so excited to hear from a former NASA astronaut. So please, audience, we ask that you please abide to the community guidelines. Today, it is about our students. And so we are so excited to be celebrating once again, not only here in the school district, but nation and internationally. But first, we're going to begin with celebrating the untold stories and contributions of Hispanic Americans right here in Florida. And to start, Mrs. Alexandria Ayala was born in Puerto Rico and has lived in Palm Beach County since 2000. She has a bachelor's degree in political science and in journalism studies from the University of Central Florida. And currently, she works for the Palm Beach County Board of County Commissioners. And she looks forward to being sworn in on November 17th as the first Latina school board member-elect. Mrs. Alexandria Ayala, welcome. It's great to have you here with us.
Buenas tardes, Patricia. Es mi honor. Y buenas tardes a todos. Feliz mes de la Hispanidad. I hope that you and your families are healthy and doing well during these difficult times. I sympathize with everyone affected as we all learn how to navigate the challenging and new times we face every day. And although I am joining you through a screen this year for our first annual celebration of this kind, it by no means takes away from the collective pride that we as Latinos feel and our reason to celebrate this month as well as throughout the rest of the year. As Patricia mentioned, my name is Alexandria Ayala, and I am honored to be your school board member-elect representing District 2 right here in Palm Beach County. Although I will not be sworn in until November 17th, I am so grateful and excited to be here today with all of you in celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month. It is my honor to be before you today as the first Hispanic in history to be elected to our Palm Beach County School Board. This victory is an achievement para todos nosotros and our community as a whole, as well as the 37% of students served by the Palm Beach County School District. Although history is being made in one way or another every day, we as a community have the opportunity to step back this month and focus on the progress and successes of our dynamic community as we look towards the future, which looks bright. Our Hispanic and Latinx community comes from different countries. As Patricia mentioned, I'm honored to be from Puerto Rico. We speak Spanish with different accents. Some of us even speak dialects. And although we arrive in the United States differently, we all share in celebrating a culture that unites us, as well as the sentiment that our community's needs often go unnoticed. But one thing is certain. Now, more than ever, we must come together to be active and engaged participants in our communities and claim our seat at the table for those of us who are here today and all of those who will come after. Today, we gather to celebrate the significant contributions and accomplishments of our people while recognizing and honoring the important role of education in our stories, in all of our stories. And I think we can all agree the pursuit of a good education and a brighter future is the starting point that laid the foundation for many of our collective experiences here tonight. I feel eternally grateful that the community felt motivated enough by the vision of my campaign to support us and carry us to this shared victory. It's for all of us. This victory is yours. I am just a humble vessel for change and improvement that we seek as the Hispanic Latino community. And I want all of you to know that our community will always have a vocal representative anywhere I am. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you to Patricia for inviting me to speak. I'm so looking forward to our main speaker tonight. And thank you to all of you watching for everything you do to improve our community. I can't wait to see what we will accomplish together.
Thank you so much, and we are so delighted that you were able to take the time to be here with us. We're also really delighted to have our Vice President, Mrs. Paula Dominguez of Flagler Bank. She's joining us today because Flagler Bank has donated funds that were used in the form of scholarships. So today we're going to honor some of our students that are our scholarship recipients. First, we have Christian Mesa, who is a student representative for the Hispanic Education Coalition when he was with us here in the School District of Palm Beach County. He recently just graduated in June. He was a part of the Good Samaritan Medical Center, TAG, Together Against Genocide, Best Buddies, and the Interactive Club. We also have Victoria Pomaraco, who was a salutatorian over at Forest Hill High School. She was the top 1% of her class, a Scholar Athlete of the Year. She was on the honor roll, the principal's honor roll, for all 4 years. Wow. She was part of the Psychology Club, the Key Club, and the Varsity Soccer. We also have Fabian Arellano, who was first ranked in his class and was a valedictorian of Pahokee class of 2020. He was the president of student government, president of the debate club, vice president of the Interact Club, captain of the varsity soccer team, and a part of the Spanish Honor Society, Dream Catchers, National Honor Society, and the Literature Club. And lastly, we're going to recognize Tony Jesus Pantoja, who was third in his class, and he was the IB Student of the Year and a part of the Interactive Club as Vice President, Spanish Honor Society as Vice President, and also just excited to be here as well. Christian, would you like to share with us what college you ended up going to and what you aspire to study?
Hola a todos. I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you, Patricia. I'm currently at the University of North Florida. I'm here in my dorm now, up here in Jacksonville. I'm majoring in political science with a minor in international relations.
Wow, look at that. We are so excited for you. Victoria.
Hi, so I currently attend the University of Central Florida, majoring in biomedical sciences and minoring in psychology.
4 years of honor roll, principal's honor roll. Please, you have to share with us, how were you able to do that?
I just feel like a lot of hard work and time management, you're capable of doing anything.
Absolutely. Fabian, share with us.
Yes, I am currently attending the University of South Florida, and I plan to major in business management. Yes.
Nice. And Tony.
Hi, I am also attending the University of South Florida, and I'm majoring in chemical engineering.
We are so proud of each and every single one of you, and we're glad that you were able to come back to be recognized. And we do have the Vice President, Paola Dominguez. Would you like to say a few words?
Hi, Patricia. It's a very, very honor for us to be here. Congratulations, students. You are amazing, and you deserve it. On behalf of Flagler Bank, we'd like to wish you the best of luck and a bright future, and keep doing what you're doing.
At this time, we want to recognize our business partners in education. The School District of Palm Beach County recognizes annually business partners that help to support us. And we are so excited that without hesitation, we nominated Don Ramon's Restaurant and Supermercados El Bodegón for their incredible ongoing support with the Hispanic Latino initiatives. Both are being honored today for receiving the Bronze Level Award. Gracias, Dina Rubio and Javier Rincon. Dina, would you like to share a few words with us? How excited are you to get this recognition?
Super excited. I'm so grateful for this reward, and I had to throw it off right here. Thank you. I'm so very appreciative of those who recommended me, especially you, Patricia. You have been amazing, a great partner. You get everybody involved in it, and it's just amazing to work with you. If you allow me, I would love to continue to be a partner of education.
Absolutely, absolutely. Es un honor de trabajar contigo también. Gracias por todo lo que haces para la comunidad. We are so grateful to have you as one of our partners in education. Y tenemos el señor Javier Rincón. ¿Quieres hacer unas cuantas palabras? ¿Quieres decir unas cuantas palabras?
Muchísimas gracias a ustedes por la posibilidad de servir a una comunidad. Es para nosotros un placer poderle servir. Y la gran herencia que mi padre nos dejó era prestar educación a nuestros hijos. Yo creo que una familia educada hace progresar la sociedad, y la base de la sociedad es la familia. Y lo más importante para mí como padre es educar a mis hijos. O sea que ustedes cumplen con una labor importantísima para la comunidad hispana y sobre todo en este país que nos brinda tanta oportunidad. Gracias, mil gracias a ustedes por permitir que Supermercado El Bodegón se vincule a la familia hispana aquí en los Estados Unidos.
No, gracias a ti, Señor Javier and Dina, both of you. It is amazing. We cannot continue to do the work that we do without your incredible support. It does take an entire village from our families, our parents, our teachers, our students, and of course, most importantly, our community and business partnerships. So muchas gracias a los dos, and I hope that you enjoy this great, amazing reward, because you really have done a phenomenal job.
Muchas gracias. Thank you.
Sí, de nada, gracias.
Thanks.
And now, here in the state of Florida, for those of you that may not be aware, we have a Florida State Statute 1003 6.42p, which talks about the importance of highlighting Hispanic contributions made to the United States and how appropriate to do that during this wonderful month of celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. We have an amazing, amazing keynote speaker that has done amazing work and has contributed back to the United States. El Señor José M. Hernandez was born into a migrant farm worker family from Mexico. He spent much of his childhood traveling up and down California to work the fields and didn't learn English until he was 12 years old. In spite of this, he obtained undergraduate and graduate degrees in electrical engineering. And in 2004, he was selected to be part of the 19th class of the United States astronauts. He achieved his lifelong dream of becoming an astronaut in 2009 when he served as the flight engineer on the Space Shuttle Discovery on a 14-day mission to the International Space Station. And so I know all of our students are so excited to have him. Please share in the chat box, all of you that are out there watching, let us know how excited you are. Please help me welcome El Señor José Hernandez. You're all waiting, I know. He's here. He is here. He's getting on. He's joining us. He's excited. It's a 3-hour difference in California. There's a little bit of some static connection there, but we're ready. In the meantime, while we're waiting for him to jump on, please try to think of what you would like to ask him, because he is here and he will be having an interactive discussion with all of you that are out there. So please feel free to start thinking about those questions that you would like to hear from him. Hola, bienvenido, José Hernández. Es un placer y un honor de tenerte aquí con nosotros. ¿Cómo estás?
Muy bien, Patricia. Pleasure being here. Gracias.
So please, we all want to know what made you decide to become a NASA astronaut? Please share with us your personal journey.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I want to thank everybody for tuning in, and hopefully we're all hunkering down and being safe. One of the things I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about what it took for me to become an astronaut and my journey. But I think it's more valuable if we go back all the way to when I was a kid, because you're gonna see how it was that I actually became an astronaut. A lot of my upbringing, de mis papás, had a lot to do with what formed me as an individual that I am today. And my story really begins about even before I was born. My parents, mi papá, is from Michoacán, La Piedad, Michoacán, as well as my mom. And my father came to the U.S. when he was all of 15. And he came because there was economic necessity from his family. He was one of the older ones. There was economic necessity of him needing to go to the U.S., work, and send money home. And so as soon as he was a big enough boy to work in the only thing he knew how to work in, which is agriculture, he ventured to California and pretty much established the same route of that Mini Michoacanos established, which was the migrant farm working route, which was follow the harvest along California. You start in Southern California, spend a couple of months there. You move to Central California, you spend another couple of months there, and then you go to Northern California, where they would spend the bulk of the time, 5 months there, and then they would go back to Michoacan. So Michoacan was 3 months, 2 months, 2 months, 5 months. That made up the year. And they did this year after year after year. Shortly thereafter, my dad married my mom. And the good thing is that he incorporated my mom in estas corridas. So my mom and my dad would then go to California year after year, 9 months out of the year, California, 3 months, Michoacan. Well, along come the kids, right? The kids are born, and depending on what month you were born in, dictated what country you were born in. And I was born in August, peak of harvest. So I was born in our last stop in Stockton, California. Have a brother born in September. He too was born in Stockton, California. But then I have a brother and sister who were born in the winter months, and they were born in Michoacan. So you can see when I grew up, the first time I went to school, it was kindergarten. And you could imagine how disruptive my education process was, because my first stop was in Ontario, California, Chino area, where we picked strawberries. But my parents put me in school, so I met my first teacher, kindergarten teacher, first set of friends. But 2 months later, they pluck you out. They take you to Salinas, where the lettuce harvest is at. And I have a new kindergarten teacher, new set of friends. But then 2 months later, I go to Stockton. By then, I'm on my third kindergarten teacher, third set of friends, and then before I know it, ya nos vamos a Mexico. So I take 3 months worth of homework, y nos vamos a Mexico, because I self-study in Mexico. It wasn't until the second grade I had a teacher, Miss Young, on our last stop in Stockton, California. Her visit to our house changed the whole process of how we lived. I remember quite vividly it was in late October. My dad got up, as he usually does during that part of the year, and makes the great announcement. That announcement is, muchachos, we're gonna go to Mexico next week. Get 3 months worth of homework from your teachers. And of course, I told my teacher that, and I'm the youngest of four. And when I told that to my teacher, she said, tell your parents I'm gonna come home and visit them. And this is my teacher, Miss Young, Asian, freshly out of college teacher. The first crush you have as a second grader is your teacher. I'm guilty of that. And so I ran home that day. I didn't even wait for my siblings. I went running home, because I felt like Paul Revere, right? The teacher's coming, the teacher's coming. And so I go and I tell my parents. And of course, my mom, like typical Latina, the only thing she's worried about is cleaning up the house for the teacher and fixing a good meal. My dad, of course, when I told him the teacher was coming, he immediately starts taking off his belt because he thinks I did something wrong. I backtrack, finally convince him that it has to do with our visit to Mexico. So Miss Young comes over. We have a great dinner. After dinner, my dad invites Miss Young to La Salita. And of course, I get dragged along, because at that time, my parents couldn't speak English. Miss Young did not speak Spanish. So I was the official interpreter. So there I go. And this is why I remember this conversation so vividly. I remember Miss Young thanking my mom for a great dinner, but she said, I'm not here for the dinner. She says, I'm here to talk about the education process of your 4 kids. And my dad immediately, kind of got stern, because he thought, okay, it's not a complaint of 1 kid, it's a complaint of 4 kids. But Miss Young said, no, it's nothing bad, Mr. Hernandez. She went on to say that she had the privilege of having all 4 of the kids in her classroom. And right now, she has your youngest one, Jose, in her classroom. And she said, and they all show great aptitude. they like school, they're smart, and they're very motivated. And so that's when she said, but the problem is your lifestyle going to Mexico, moving around affects them. And my dad and my mom, who only have a third grade education, my dad immediately put a halt to Miss Young and said, Señorita, she says, excuse me, she says, but we're not like other migrant farm workers. Even though my wife and I only have a third grade education, we believe in education. And let me tell you that wherever we're at, they're either in school or they're doing your homework. And Miss Young says, yes, but you move them around from different school district to school district, different towns. And my dad's response was, well, sure we do, but we move during the weekend so they don't miss school, which was true. Friday, we finished one school, and Monday we were in the next town, enrolled in the new school. So we didn't finish school. My dad was right. And then Miss Young said, yes, but then you go to Mexico for 3 months. And my dad's response was, yes, but they do your homework. So Miss Young saw that she couldn't get through to my dad, and she did something amazing. She first elevated, put my dad on a pedestal. First, congratulated him for his work in agriculture. She said, your kids tell me you have worked a lot of years in agriculture, and you're probably an expert with all the experience you had. And my dad, you didn't have to tell him that, because all of a sudden, you know, he gets straight up and says, pumps his chest and says, well, I'm not sure I'm an expert, pero I do have a lot of experience. Can I help you? And she let us smile when she said that, when he said that, because she figured, oh, I got him. And she said, yes, you can help me. He says, I have a problem, and if you help me solve it, maybe it could help both of us. And my dad said, okay. And Miss Young said, imagine I give you 4 trees in macetas, in potted pots, and 4 small little fruit trees. I'm going to give them to you, Mr. Hernandez. My dad said, great, okay. So now I want you to find the best ground, fertile ground. I want you to dig 4 holes and you plant those trees. And you water them and fertilize them. And my dad said, I can do that. And then she says, in 3 months, though, I want you to find a similar piece of ground, dig 4 holes, and you transplant those trees into the new holes. But you're going to water them, fertilize them like the expert yet you are. You're going to take good care of them. My dad a little bit in the was confused and said, okay. And then Miss Young says, and in another 3 months, what's more, every 3 months, I want you to find a new piece of ground and you keep transplanting those trees every 3 months, but you're going to feed them and water them. And my dad said, okay. And then she looked at my dad and says, you who are an expert in agriculture, she says, what do you think is going to happen to those trees? My dad looks at her and says, well, Miss Young, says those trees are not going to die because you're taking care of them. You're watering them, fertilizing them. But I will tell you this, says those trees are going to be small. You're going to stunt their growth. They're going to be weak. And if they're fruit trees, they probably won't even bear any fruit. Why? Let me tell you why. It says, because you're moving them around. Trees need to have the roots grow deep so they can grow big and strong. He even raises his hand when he said that, big and strong. And then you can count to 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. The facial expression of my dad changed. And he kind of realized, he slowly put his hands down. And in mi rancho, we say, le cayó el 20. He realized that that example was his kids. That what he would be doing to those trees, he's actually doing to his kids. And my dad, who's a very machista, very proud, I looked at Miss Young, and I give him credit for this. And he said, is that what you mean? Miss Young said, that's what I mean. I think my job's done. So she got up and excused herself. And I'll tell you, that year we still went to Mexico, but on the way back, we didn't stop in Southern or Central California. We went straight to Stockton, Northern California. Our trips to Mexico from then on shrank from 3 months to 3 weeks. Our education started to get traction. And a lot of people say, okay, well, now you're still from a farm working family. How in the heck did you become an astronaut? And I tell folks that dream was conceived when I was 10 years old. We were in Stockton. And if you could imagine a 10-year-old boy holding on to a rabbit ear antenna for dear life, then that was me watching the very last Apollo mission. You know, my dad would always have me hold the antenna for better reception. And when it was very important, he would tell me to stay there. And of course, you have the tejido of your abuela on the bottom of that antenna. And there I was watching Gene Cernan walk on the moon. It was Apollo 17, the very last Apollo mission. And when my dad would let me let go of the antenna, I would kneel in front of it and watch in front of the TV and watch the black and white image fuzzy and see and hear Gene Cernan walk on the moon. I would hear the reporter narrate it. I still remember his name, Walter Cronkite, narrating the moonwalk. And I tell you, that evening, when it was time to go to bed, I tell my dad, I said, Papa, I know what I want to be when I grow up. He said, yes, mijo, what's that? I said, I want to be an astronaut. He stopped dead on his tracks. And he turned around and he looked at me and said, you want to be what? ¿Quieres ser qué? I said, I want to be an astronaut. He said, vamos a la cocina. Man, my eyes got this big because in la cocina, only 3 things happen. And 2 already happened. First thing is my mom always sits us down after school, feeds us, and then doesn't allow us to get up until we finish our homework. That was done. My mom, at her insistence, we all sit down together at the same time for dinner, and that was done. The third thing that wasn't done was the tool shed. That's where they implement justice. And so hence my concern when he said, vamos a la cocina, let's go to the kitchen. So there I go, very scared. And no, he sits down and he makes me justify why I want to be an astronaut. And I just repeat everything. The reporter, Walter Cronkite, said that evening that the moon was 250,000 miles away, that Apollo 17 was the last mission for the foreseeable future, but that one day we're going to return as humans to the moon and establish a lunar base and all this kind of stuff. And I told my dad, I want to be part of that. My dad was probably so impressed, or he just saw the determination of a 10-year-old kid, that he had the wisdom to do 2 important things. The first thing he did is he empowered me to believe that I could be an astronaut, because his first words out of his mouth was, I think you can do it. And I said, I immediately got up and kind of was happy that he said I can do it. He validated that dream, but he didn't stop there. He did a second thing. He said, I'm going to give you a recipe, a 5-ingredient recipe that's going to allow you to reach that dream, but you got to follow it to the T, mijo. You got to follow it to the T. He said, what's that, Papa? He said, first, he says, define what you want to be in life. What does Pepito want to be when he grows up? I yelled it out. I said, I want to be an astronaut. I figure I got 1 out of 5 done already. He says, good. Then he said, second, he says, recognize how far you are from your goal. Okay? And I looked down at our linoleum, old yellow floor in our 2-bedroom dilapidated rental in the worst part of Stockton. And I looked up at my dad and I said, Papa, don't get mad, but we can't be any further than this. He kind of laughed and said, I'm glad you recognize that, mijo. Because the third thing you got to do is you got to draw yourself a roadmap from where you know where you're at to where you want to go. You have to know the way, mijo. It's not always a straight line. You got to know where to turn and what direction to turn and when. I said, okay, Papa, what's the 4th one? He said, you're doing it already, mijo. You're getting yourself an education. You got to go to school. You got to go to college. And then he said, 5th and final, he points out the kitchen window. He says, you know that effort you put out Saturdays and Sundays, 7 days a week during the summer, picking fruits and vegetables alongside your mom and myself and your brothers? I said, yeah, Papa. He said, that effort, he points to my books on the kitchen table, says, you put here. You put that effort in your studies, and then you put that effort in your job. He closed off by saying, always, always give more than what people expect out of you. He said, you mix that up, mijo, that's the recipe to succeed. Man, I took that recipe hook, line, and sinker and put it to work. And I'll tell you, it works. It works. I use it to this day. It's a great recipe. I would add my own ingredient to this recipe, and that's what you see there, that sixth ingredient. And word of the day, perseverance, perseverancia, which means never give up. Never give up. Because I'm here to tell you that NASA rejected me not once, not twice, not 3 or 4 times. I was rejected by NASA 11 times. It wasn't until the 12th time that I finally got invited to be part of the 19th class of US NASA astronauts. So the moral of the story is, if you follow that recipe my dad gave you with perseverance, you can reach anything. And I'm not gonna say that the sky's the limit, because that's not true. The stars are the limit, because I'm living proof of that a migrant farm working kid whose parents came from Michoacan, Mexico, was able to achieve the American dream through hard work and education. So that recipe is very important. Define your goal, right? Recognize how far you are from it. Draw yourself a roadmap. Prepare yourself accordingly to the challenge you selected, the goal you selected. And you gotta work hard, and you gotta never, ever, ever give up. Mix that up, and I will make you the same promise my father made to me, in that you will be able to reach your own stars. So I wanna thank you very much for the opportunity of talking to you. And Patricia, I'll hand it over to you. Be happy to answer any questions, or you want to continue with your program. Pero muchísimas gracias. I'll send all of you guys un abrazo virtual, a virtual hug, and please stay safe. And hopefully I'll get invited to see you in person soon once all this is over with. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias, señor Hernandez. Es un placer, como dije, un honor de tenerte. It was such an honor and pleasure to have you here with us. And what an incredible story. So many of our students share the exact same story as it relates to coming from humble beginnings and parents that are out working in the fields. I myself am also Mexicana, proud Mexicana, from farm worker family as well. So a lot of us can relate, except of course we have not been, in space. But I also want to point out that this book that you wrote is just absolutely amazing. El niño que alcanzó las estrellas. Look at that. And so I can see the inspiring story there. You emphasize it beautifully. It's about persevering. And so with that in mind, can you talk a little bit more about some of the struggles or challenges that you might have gone through when you were in the NASA program with regard to diversity, anything of that nature that you encountered when you were there in the program?
Well, yeah, just trying to get selected to the program amongst the failures of the rejections, I guess. I won't call them failures. I would just say rejections. Is that there's upon analyzing how I finally got selected, I kind of came up with a 3-point strategy of reaching any goal. Because I'm an engineer, and I always analyze things after things happen and try to figure out how to streamline the processes. But I remember when I first applied to the astronaut program, and my very first application, I remember I received my rejection letter, but I was so happy because it was an official letter from NASA. It had the NASA logo on there, and all that, and it said, "Dear applicant," didn't even have my name on it. It said, "Dear applicant," it says, "Thank you so much for applying, and looking at your records, we do concur that you meet the minimum requirements. So they validated my application. So I was real happy. Then they said, unfortunately, over 14,000 people apply, and we could only interview 100 finalists. Those 100 finalists will be invited for 1 week at NASA. They'll go through medical, psychological, aptitude testing, and interviews. Those 100, out of those 100, we'll select 10 to 15 astronauts. Please feel free to apply next year. So I even framed a letter because, you know, it said I had the requirements. And I did this year after year after year. Finally, the 6th year, you know, no one likes rejection. I got that 6th one, and I kind of looked at it, and it's the same one, dear applicant. The only thing that changed was the date and year. And I remember the 6th one, I didn't even read very well. I just crunched it up. I was in the bathroom, threw it in the wastebasket, and I missed the wastebasket. That's why I'm not a basketball player. And it hit the floor there. And my wife, well, at that time, you know, I had just gotten married with my wife, and she was doing el aseo, and she picked it up and she looked at it and she says, "What's this?" I said, "Oh, you know, NASA rejected me again. I think I'm giving up this dream." And she looked at me and she read the letter and she looked, "Why are you giving up?" "Well," I said, "I got rejected 6 times. Obviously, they don't want me." And she looked at me and she said, "Well, I agree they don't want you this year, but you don't know next year or the following year, because it says here, please feel free to reapply." That's the very last sentence, next year. And I said, "Yeah, but it's going to be the same thing." And she says, "You know, I know you too well." She says, "You're always going to have that little worm of curiosity inside of you, wondering what if I would have applied the 7th, 8th, or 9th time." And that worm of curiosity is going to gnaw you inside, and you're going to turn into a bitter man for not taking this to its full life. And she says, "So I suggest you reevaluate that decision." And she made me think about it. She said, "Yeah, you know, she's right." And so at that point, I said, I'm going to keep applying, but I did something different that I did from the previous 6 applications. And this is where I learned the second element to that 3-part strategy. The first one, it's very obvious. I was doing it unconsciously, is meet the minimum requirements, which NASA sent me the letter, said I did have the minimum requirements. You know, you had to go to a college in the science or engineering field, have 5 years experience, graduate degree preferable, and then apply. And I did that. But problem was 14,000 other people had the same requirements under their belt. So I said, there's got to be something different. And I said, you know, at that point I could have said, you know, well, maybe it's because of discrimination. And I refused to believe that. I said, you know, NASA's too good for that. I don't think that they would discriminate. I think they just select the best people. Algo me falta. I'm missing some. So I took a deep dive. Excuse me. I took a deep dive into everybody's background that got selected as astronauts. And I found something very interesting that they all had that I lacked. They were all pilots, and I wasn't a pilot. So guess what I did? I applied and became, I went to ground school, took lessons, and became a pilot. Next year, I found that they were indeed all pilots again, but then I took a deeper dive and found out that they were all scuba certified. Well, I got myself scuba certified, basic, advanced, scuba rescue. I was certified up the wazoo in scuba diving because I liked it, and I wanted to know, let NASA know that I was a good scuba diver. So I did that. So that was the second element to that strategy. If you want to be successful like someone, study that person, find out what attributes those people have, and you work hard to acquire those for yourself as well. And I did that, being a pilot, being scuba certified. And then finally, the third thing that I did is you got to differentiate yourself from the competition. What did I do? Is I accepted a job that took me to Russia, to Siberia, a 5-year project that took me to Russia 25 times, working in the nuclear non-proliferation arena. Why did I do that? It wasn't because I wanted to get to know Siberia in the middle of winter, but it was because I had read in the newspaper that we were going to be working with the Russians up in space. In other words, it would behoove me to get this experience, and this would differentiate me from the competition. At the same time, I could go to my boss and say, now that I'm going to Russia, I want to take Russian language classes. And guess what? After 5 years of one-on-one teaching, я понимаю по-русски язык, I learned Russian. So I put all that together and finally got selected. Now, getting back to your original question is, was there discrimination? I'm sure there's discrimination in all levels of our work. The higher up you go, the more subtle it is what I find out. But I subscribe to my mom's philosophy. The first time I complained to her that I got discriminated because my mom used to give us tacos to take for lunch and at school, and everybody had their bologna or ham sandwich, and here I was, Pepito, with his taco, and they would call me the come taco, the eat taco. So I complained to my mom, and my mom just looked at me and said, mijo, mátalos con el amor. Kill them with love. And I asked her, what does that mean, Mom? She says, look, I said, kill them with show them who you are on the inside. Sooner or later, you're going to win those people over. Now, the people you don't win over, there's nothing you can do to change them, but you will win good people over by killing them with love. And that's what my philosophy at NASA was always is. I never doubted it, that there was discrimination. I refused to believe it. All it did is just made me work harder, more determined. And I think that's what, that was a good solution. And that's the solution I recommend to everybody. So that answers your question. A long way of answering, Patricia, but I wanted to.
You know what? And you are right on point with that. We need to make sure that we are respecting and caring and definitely demonstrating the ability to respond with love and care. That's the best way, right? I love how you just didn't give up and you did persevere. And I think the best message that our students need to hear is that it doesn't matter how many times you fall. What matters is how many times you get right back up. And so that's a quote from Jaime Escalante. I know our audience is out there ready to hear some responses from their questions that they have for you. So I'm going to bring in one of our amazing partners in education. This is Thoughtexchange. I'd like to introduce Heidi Baker, who's the National Business Manager. She is not only an amazing partner in education, but is also a dear friend. Heidi, how are you?
Oh my goodness, I am great, and I'm so inspired. I loved our time we had with Jose prior to this, and now after hearing you, Jose, you inspired me. I mean, your talk right now wasn't just for children or students; it was for all of us because we're all lifelong learners. I am anyway. So thank you for inspiring me with your recipe for success. I took copious notes, and so now what we're going to do is, we're going to give an opportunity for all of our participants to be able to ask you questions. They'll be able to safely and confidentially ask you questions or share takeaways that they had that will help inspire them in the work that they're doing today. Whether it be a parent, whether it be a school administrator, a teacher, or a student, we can all learn from you. So with that, what we're going to do is we're going to give you an opportunity to participate in a thought exchange. So have your mobile device available. It could be your phone, it could be an iPad, any device, any smart device. And my colleague, James Haga, is here with me today from Thoughtexchange. There he is. And so what we're going to do is share the screen with you. And what you need to do is just hold up your iPhone camera. You don't have to have a QR scanner or reader. If you hold up your iPhone to the QR scanner, the QR code here, you'll see a little pop-up and you'll be entered into the thought exchange, and you'll be able to participate and ask any question you'd like without any identification of who you are. You can participate in any language, which is really fantastic. So if you'd like to participate in Spanish, please feel free to do so today. The question today is, what are your key takeaways and questions for our presenter, Jose Hernandez? I have to say, NASA astronaut Jose Hernandez. And in our company, we always say that we're on this big rocket ship, Jose. So I just have to tell you, James and I are so excited to be like on a real rocket ship today with a real astronaut. It's so exciting for us. And if you don't have an iPhone and you have an Android, just type in tejoin.com and type in this 9-digit code. We're going to set the timer for 4 minutes. And while we're participating, you're going to be able to hear some beautiful music by one of the students at the School District of Palm Beach County. So as you share your thoughts, once you've shared your thought or your question, start rating the thoughts of others on how you resonate with that thought. Click the star button and you'll start seeing the thoughts and questions of other participants. Rate them 1 to 5. If you agree or you resonate highly with the thought, give it a 5-star. If you disagree or you have less resonation with it, give it a 1. If you're kind of in the middle, give it a 3. And then just keep starring. And if you want to go back and share another thought, please feel free. You can see the thoughts as they're emerging on the right, and then you can see a diagram and a visualization of the thoughts, of the people sharing thoughts, the thoughts getting rated, and you can see the top thoughts will emerge, and this is showing what we all are resonating with the most here today, so that we can have Jose address what most of us here in the room would like to learn. Keep playing, Emilio. We've got 25 seconds left, so keep starring as many as you can in the next 20 seconds. Okay, our timer is up. This is fantastic. Thank you so much for the beautiful music. Just love your talent, Emilio. Thank you so much. You're so talented and the music is so beautiful. So as you can see, we've had 79 participants today, which I'm very impressed. And almost everybody shared a thought, which is awesome. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Santiago and Patricia to team up here with Jose and address some of these important questions and takeaways.
Muchas gracias. Thank you. So the first thought that I can see up here, growing up as a person of color in the US, how difficult was it to get jobs or even just succeed in life? From James.
And he doesn't mean as an astronaut, he just means life in general. You know, it's a little, you know, I'm not going to lie to you that it's a little tougher. But I think once you get your first job or once you get, you know, that first experience, you know, it's that experience that carries you to your next job that pays even better, that's bigger. And you start building up a resume of experiences that people can check with your as references as to how you did in previous jobs. And that's how they do. And then they sort of put color aside and who you are aside, because they're business people and they're interested in making sure that the job gets done correctly. And so I think that if you're a hard worker, it doesn't matter what color. You could be orange and still you know, be employed. So don't worry about that. I think that what you need to worry about is to work hard and demonstrate that you are the best person for that job that you're going after. Absolutely, 100%.
All right, let's take it the next thought there. Gracias, Santiago. It says, I love that you never give up and being rejected only made you work harder towards your goal. You inspire so many. It's important to not give up. I remember hearing you as a kid, and now to see you here is so surreal. P.S. I've seen you on TikTok. Yeah, I have seen you also, senor.
Yeah, my daughter has a TikTok account, and you want to see me make a fool of myself, look her up on TikTok, and I think she's at Vanessa_ADE for Adelita, at Vanessa_ADE, and you'll see I make guest appearances on her account, and of course when she wants something silly done and wants to catch attention, she drags me into it, and there I am. But absolutely, thank you very much for those kind words. I'm glad that you saw me when you were younger, and now you're seeing me now. You know, read my book. It's called Reaching for the Stars. It's a self-penned autobiography. You want to know the whole story of and how I actually reached my goal in more detail. You'll see that book. It contains it all, ever since I could remember, have memory, up until getting selected and flying into space.
All right, Santiago.
All right. I will read. Did you miss your kids when you were in space?
Did I miss my kids when I was in space? Yeah, of course. I missed my family. I wanted them to have that experience I had up in space. Obviously, they can't be up there with me. But the good thing was that NASA allows you to have a video conference. This was before Zoom, but we had video conferences. We only had one during our 14-day mission, and they were able to see me floating in space, eating, doing flips and popping M&Ms in my mouth, those type of things. So I was able to share my trip with them via video conference, and then I could call down on an IP phone anytime I wanted to. So every time I was over Houston, which is where we lived at the time, I would tell the kids, go outside and see if you see a little star moving across the horizon. And they would, and I said, that's me. And I would tell them to wave, and I would tell them I could see them waving at me, but of course I couldn't.
Okay, Patricia? I will ask the next question. So, unbelievable story, so relatable to our community, very inspiring for our kids. Thank you so much, Mr. Hernandez. Do you have anything to add? So they're saying you're very relatable to our community. Absolutely, you are. How does that make you feel?
I'm very proud to be able to represent our Latino community. Hopefully, I'm a positive role model to follow, and that's what I try to do when I give these talks, is to give some tools like my father's recipe, my advice of perseverance, so that when you walk away from this, the feeling, especially if you're a young student right now, the feeling that conclusion you should come to is, wait, he looks just like me, he speaks like me, he comes from the same type of background I come from. Then if he was able to do it, why can't I? So I want you guys to empower yourselves into believing, because it's true, you can do it. Follow that recipe and just look at myself as an example, and believe that anything you select to do in life, following that recipe, I guarantee you, you'll get there.
Of course, thank you. Patricia?
What classes, courses did you have to take? I want to become a robotic engineer and work at NASA, so I was just wondering about the classes.
Well, make sure you take a lot of math and a lot of science. And then when you go to college, major in some type of robotics engineering major. And if you go to college, when you go to college, not if, but when you go to college, look at the summer internship, internship possibilities at NASA. NASA has 10 centers sprinkled across the U.S. You got Johnson Space Center, where astronauts train. That's in Houston. You got Kennedy Space Center. That's the people that manage the space vehicles. You got Marshall Space Flight Center in Huntsville, Alabama. They do propulsion systems. You got NASA up in Greenbelt by Washington, D.C. NASA Research, Glenn, up in Ohio. You got NASA Ames over here in California, Jet Propulsion Lab. There's plenty of places in the U.S. that are part of NASA family that you can work as a summer intern. So once you start going to college, start applying to these internships, and then that's your way in, such that when you graduate college, you'll be in a better position to be hired as a career.
Señor Hernandez, while we're looking through some of those questions, I had a question come in. How important was it for you to speak Spanish at home? As we know, it's really important to our bilingual students here in the school district. So how important was it for you to speak at home?
I'm not sure. I looked at it as important. It's more of a necessity. My parents did not learn how to speak English until I was an adult. So it was basically, we had no choice but to do it. And I'm glad it happened that way, because then I never lost the language. And in our particular case, I have 5 kids, and we practice and we speak Spanish at home for that same reason, that I want them to be fluent, which they are in Spanish. And so it's very important to be bilingual, or trilingual, as it is in my case, because I know Russian. But the more languages you know, the more valuable you'll be out in getting a job. So absolutely, absolutely.
Go ahead, Santiago.
Do you ever find yourself wanting to still learn, although you are a successful astronaut?
Absolutely. We never stop learning. I mean, it's, your brain is a muscle. Just like a muscle, when you do exercises and you lift weights and things of that nature, the more you use it, the bigger and healthier and stronger it gets. So your mind, you always want to be exercising it. And there's no better exercise than to learn new things and learn new things and be active and mentally alert. And so that helps. So absolutely, I'm always trying to learn new things.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's jump down. I see. I'd just like to thank you for sharing your journey and the recipe for success your father taught you. It's really cool that you're showing us that we can do anything off if we work at it. Never giving up and having a plan to persevere through setbacks. And here's a question here, Jose. You're such an inspiration to all students, parents, family, and members watching today. I hope that all those kids out there that might be struggling with distance learning will persevere like you did and never give up. Do you have your children at home experiencing the distance learning?
Yes.
And if so, can you share a little bit of insight of what that experience is like for you?
Absolutely. Yes, I do. I have to admit, though, that my oldest is at Purdue in his apartment because he's finishing up his PhD in aerospace engineering. And he has to write his dissertation, and he has to have access to the lab to run his experiments. So he's not he's not distance learning, but he is there cooped up in his apartment and goes to campus from time to time to do his experiments. Other than that, my other 4 kids, one of them already graduated from college and it's working in Los Angeles, which is a good 5.5-hour drive from where I'm at. But she spends about half her time up here with us because she's telecommuting a lot. And then I have another daughter who just finished her undergraduate and is in graduate school, but her school, of course, she's doing distance learning there. And then I have 2 of them in high school that are, of course, doing distance learning in our house. So we have a full house. We love it because right now we would only have 2 of our 5 kids at home, and we actually have 4 of the 5. So it's a full house, but we're enjoying every minute of it.
It sounds like a full house, and it's great that you're enjoying that experience among the circumstances. Santiago?
Yeah, so this next question right here asks, how can I inspire my Latino children to live their dreams?
What you do is you need to first find out what they are and talk to them about what is their dream. And then after that, you try to set up an environment that's conducive for them to be able to achieve those dreams. I mean, if someone wants to, be a engineer, buy him a subscription to Popular Mechanics.
Where are we at?
Some of those type of publications that arrives every month, so they can read and keep that interest up. Buy them a computer or something that's related to whatever it is that they want to do. They want to be an artist or sing, give them those guitar lessons that they want and things of that nature. You got to support their dream, and but you got to find out what it is first. So a conversation is necessary so that everybody's on the same page.
Absolutely. It's an entire process and kind of just figuring that out.
Let's go ahead and take one more question here. What subject did you have to focus on the most for becoming an astronaut? And also, what were the requirements?
Well, I mean, you have to, anything that's STEM related, science, technology, engineering, and math, you have to be good at. So you gotta love STEM. And to become an astronaut, well, you need to major in one of those STEM fields, whether it's science, technology, engineering, math, whatever. You could be major in medicine, geology. We have geologists that are astronauts, anything like that. But nowadays, it's so competitive that you almost need a PhD to be competitive. And so that's the one thing I would tell you guys is if you're interested in being an astronaut, make sure you're prepared to go to graduate school after you finish your undergraduate, which is 4 years of undergraduate. Then you get your master's, and then you get your PhD. If you're willing to do that, then I think you stand a good chance of being competitive.
That's exactly right. Wow. You know, it's unfortunate that we are out of time, but we certainly want to make sure to share how you can reach out to former astronaut José Hernandez. This is the information on how you can follow him and or stay connected with him and follow his journey. Señor Hernandez, I really hope that you'll be able to come back to us here at the School District of Palm Beach County, because we would love to continue this conversation. Every year we host an annual Hispanic Latino Studies Summer Institute, and I would love to have you come at the end of this year to dive in a little bit deeper as it relates to the STEM initiatives, because we actually highlight a lot of the Hispanic contributions through the STEM, but most specifically through the STEAM, because we don't want to forget the arts part of it. So I know that you would be wonderful to be able to do that meaningful, intentional work with our teachers and our administrators. So I certainly invite you to come back, and I hope you'll accept that invitation, and we'll see you back here at the end of this year.
Okay, great. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to it, Patricia. And thank you very much for the opportunity to be here with you guys.
Gracias.
Gracias.
Well, how about that? How amazing was that? You all did a great job with those phenomenal questions. We're going to go ahead and keep this momentum going. Santiago, I have to say, gracias, amigo. My friends out there, I'm sure you can relate. Every now and again, you just get kicked out, right? Because of the Wi-Fi and the connection. That happened to me several times. But I am just delighted that I have the best co-host here with me. Santiago, you are doing an awesome job. So here, go ahead and share with us what's next on our program.
All right, so next on our program, we have our first performance. We have Emiliano Andrade from Palm Beach Central High School performing.
Ya subí la carretera que me lleva a la miseria, en vez de piedra, en vez de asfalto, por lo menos hazme guerra. No me tires contra el suelo, no me rompa la cadena. Es que extraño el saborcito a coco que sé que hay en tu mirada. Yeah, dulcito de coco. Amor, tú eres mi dulce, eres mi bien, dulcito de coco, como panal de abeja que da miel, dulcito de coco, nada me hace tanta falta como tú. Llévame a la carretera que me lleva hasta tu casa, agüita de manantiales, florecita de mi valle. Ven y quítame este duelo, ven y radia tu detalle. Es que extraño el saborcito a coco que sé que hay en tu mirada. Yeah, dulcito de coco. Amor, tú eres mi dulce, eres mi bien, dulcito de coco, como panal de abejas que da miel, dulcito de coco, nada me hace tanta falta como tú. Dulcito de coco, y amor, tú eres mi dulce, dulcito de coco, como un panal de abejas que da miel. Dulcito de coco. Gracias.
Excelente trabajo, muchas gracias. Our next performer is Maria Bidou from West Boca Raton High School.
Para Thank you.
¡Qué talento! Gracias, María. Muy bonito. Siempre es un placer de tenerte. What a pleasure it is to always have Maria and Emiliano. And Emiliano put together the music package at the very beginning, so he is also very talented. So happy to have him with us. Wow. So now we're going to segue into an amazing young lady. She is from Alexandria Dreyfoos School of the Arts with an amazing poem that she wrote called Mama. But first, we want to hear a little bit more about her. So we're going to see this beautiful video that was put together by our education network regarding Isabella Ramirez.
Hi, my name is Isabella Ramirez, and I'm a senior at Dreyfoos School of the Arts. The Alliance for Young Artists and Writers received thousands of entries for poetry, and out of those 1,000, they selected 5 national student poets. When I found out, I was beyond honored. I was so happy.
Wow, thank you so much. That's an incredible opportunity.
For the next year, I'll be visiting schools, libraries to engage with the community through poetry. I'm just so glad that I'll be able to inspire another generation of poets. I'm always constantly writing, always kind of thinking of ideas and jotting them down in my journal. When I write, I really feel like I'm giving myself a voice. There is a level and layer of emotions that I can really only express through writing and through the complexities of similes, metaphors, and alliteration. When I write, I not only think about myself, but I think about the people that I can reach through my writing. I wouldn't be where I am without my teachers at Dreyfoos. Dreyfoos really takes a talented student and it cultivates them and pushes them even further. And really, if it weren't for my teachers at Dreyfoos, I wouldn't be where I am right now.
I'm sitting on my mama's bed and she's on the brink of breaking down over her homework. I can see the glint of a blinking cursor and the tears glossing over her eyes as her hands search for words in a language all too foreign to her. She said I could count in both Spanish and English by the time I was 18 months old, but it's taken her 21 years and counting to flatten out the unruly kinks of her language. My mama's English is a stubborn wine stain on a white dress. She scrubs at her twisted tongue, desperate to clean the spice, el cilantro, la salsa, that is her accent. Her accent is the tambourine she hides in the back of her mouth. Behind the ivory piano keys that are her teeth, she speaks a merengue, bachata, ranchera, tonada that she mutes to make room for her English. My mama's English gets told it's pretty good for being an immigrant, to which she replies, you've got some nerve for being a gringa, because my mama wasn't a stay-at-home mom for 15 years to be told her English needed housekeeping. The beauty of my mama's English is that she doesn't need it to knock your head off your shoulders. Call her a luchador because she can make you tap out faster than you can say her English isn't good enough. My mama's English is me correcting her at the dinner table. It's me laughing when she can't find the right syllables and sounds and the words don't fit quite right in her mouth. It's the downturn of her lips at the expense of my smile because her English is not the punchline of a joke that's gotten too old. My mama's English is the piñata she got me on my 10th birthday. Big and bright and pink and purple, but hollow on the inside. It's her count to 3, 1, 2, 3, as she spun me blindfolded, dizzy, and facing the wrong direction. It's the swing and miss on my bats and the candy and confetti that falls and the final hit that breaks it open. It's a game of pin the tail on the donkey. No matter how many times we play, you never just get it quite right. It's a quinceañera I never had, overrated and stereotypical, distastefully too Latina. It's the number birthday candles that melt hot wax onto the cake she made from scratch. It's the reason my birthday is not just a happy birthday, but a feliz cumpleaños. It's the reason that when I go to my friends' parties, I want to sing happy birthday twice because mama never let us blow out candles before singing in Espanol. My mama's English is the $1.35 Cuban coffee I drive her to get every Saturday. Itching at the back of her throat, bitter and hard to swallow, only sweet from the sugar left in the foam she licks off her top lip. It's the reason she insists the Starbucks double espresso doesn't have the same kick. It's the reason I'm sitting on mama's bed watching her eyes swell as she fumbles with the keys. It's the reason she got into graduate school at 42, why I help her with her homework before I do my own. It's why the bottom of her computer burns my lap with each Oxford comma and restructured sentence and fixed grammar rule. It's why she doesn't end up crying when I whisper that everything will be okay. My mama's English is the reason I can tell her in 2 ways that she is my everything, mi todo, because her love knows no language. Thank you.
Wow, absolutely beautiful. That is amazing. I cannot believe that you authored that. Your mom obviously inspired you, but how do you feel now being selected at the national level?
You know, when I first wrote this poem, obviously I didn't intend to get such recognition at such a high level, but I think that, you know, the inspiration that I've gotten from my mother, she's been such a powerful force in the arts for me and education in general. And she inspired me so much. And I think that really shined through with my poem. And I think that's part of the reason why I was selected, was that there's a passion there and an inspiration. And of course, I wouldn't be here without her.
And I bet she's absolutely proud. Thank you so much, Isabella, for being here with us. We're so proud, and hopefully you'll continue to stay connected with us. Santiago, what are your thoughts so far, buddy?
No, it's been amazing from the thought exchange with José Hernandez. That was, I think, listening to all of his thoughts and everything he had to say. I think that's very unique. It's not every day you get to just have a Q&A with an astronaut and someone who has met so many influential people and is really influential himself. I think that was absolutely amazing. Listening to Emiliano and Maria with their performances, and now listening to this beautiful poem that just really hits at the heart, and I think of just all of us and my family and my mom also, she studies and I help her write stuff also, so it really resonates with me, and it's a beautiful poem. So yeah.
I agree with you, Santiago. I mean, when I first saw her recite her poem, I was in tears. So I knew she definitely needed to be part of this program. But you're exactly right. I think a lot of our moms out there are most likely with their tissues in hand. So tell us, we've got another really great piece here, a little different. We're going to change it up from music, I hear, and from dance. We're going to have something different. What is that?
So now we're going to switch into our cultural heritage celebration, showing different aspects of culture in the countries of Honduras and Colombia. First up, we have Shadia Ruiz, a proud Latina from Lake Worth Middle School, and she is representing the country of Honduras. Welcome, Shadia.
Okay. Honduras is a country located in Central America, and it's known for its rich natural resources, including minerals, coffee, tropical fruit, and sugarcane, as well as for its growing textiles industry, which serves in the international market. Its capital and most largest city, Tegucigalpa. The Honduran flag include 2 blue cerulean bands, which represent the Pacific Ocean and the Caribbean Sea, and also represent the blue sky and the brotherhood. The inner white band represent the land between the ocean and the sea, the peace and prosperity of its people, and purity of thoughts. The 5 centered stars in the white band represent the 5 nations of the former Federal Republic of Central America, El Salvador, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, and Guatemala, and the hope that the nations may form a union again.
Qué lindo, muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias. Shareis, ¿tú quieres decir un poquito en español sobre lo que dijiste ahorita para que la audiencia que habla en español lo entiende puede saber un poquito más?
Okay. Honduras es un país en Centroamérica y es la capital y la más grande es Tegucigalpa.
Looks like we have a bit of technical difficulties, but how amazing is that, Santiago, that she's able to do that in English and Spanish. And that's what we love celebrating with regard to our bilingualism and our bicultural here in the district. Santiago, you also speak Spanish and read Spanish as well, right?
Yes, ma'am. That's actually one of the things that I love that we talked about with José Hernandez was bilingualism and how important it is for our parents to start us at a young age. I have a lot of friends who, family friends who their parents are Hispanic, but they didn't teach them Spanish from a young age, and so they can't really speak it very well. And I think that if you have Hispanic parents, it's so imperative and important to teach them at a young age. And yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's absolutely important that we continue to encourage a lot of our students that do speak a different language. So we want to make sure to just celebrate it and to embrace it and encourage them to always use it, whether in the classroom, outside the classroom, or in the community. Well, we are about out of time and we have had so much fun. I certainly want to make sure to thank Thoughtexchange, our amazing sponsor for the event. And again, para el señor José Hernandez que estuvo aquí con nosotros, muchas gracias. So grateful that he was here with us as well. From everybody that was participating today have done a phenomenal job and we're so excited. So we're going to end it here with a very interesting and unique and different performance. But before we do that, Santiago, my co-host, muchas gracias. You did an amazing job. Air high five to that, to you. You did a great job. Gracias, amigo, for being here with us. I am just beyond words of how proud I am of you because you, and let's talk a little bit about you as we get ready for the next performance. You represent the school district of Palm Beach County at the school board member meetings, right? Talk to us a little bit about that and what that feels like for you.
Yeah, so this past year I ran in student government, I ran for the position of county council president of Palm Beach County. So the student councils in the county are all part of that council, and I am the president of that council. Along with that position comes the position of being school board representative. So I represent the student voice at the school board. I give a monthly report to the school board and inform them on what's going on throughout the county in regards to student council or student life. That to me is so important because at the end of the day, we are the future leaders of tomorrow, and having a voice in our community and at our school board and everything from our community to the school board to our city and everything, it's so important to just have a voice and be able to inform people about our opinions. So I love my position. I'm glad I can do things like this and really just be involved in my culture. Thank you.
Well,
Gracias
I am
por tenerme.
thrilled. Oh, siempre. I am thrilled that you said yes to me. You know, when I saw you on TV, I was like, you're the one. And we immediately connected because I was the first Latina in my high school to serve as student government president. And so that was an amazing experience. And I had also represented, like you, at the state level as well as an officer for student government. So right on, we connected, and I'm so glad that you were here to share these memorable moments with all of us. And I think we're ready for the next performance. As you all know, it's always tricky when you're live and you are on Wi-Fi's and hotspots. So we get kicked out, but we're right back in, and it looks like we're ready for our finale. Santiago, take it away for us.
All right, so this last performance, I'll say, is by the name of Capoeira Carcara. Please help me in welcoming. Thank you.
¡Bravo! ¡Woohoo! Así se hace. Muchas gracias a todos. A special thank you to all of our I'm telling you, we have incredible departments here in the School District Santiago. So I need to make sure that we emphasize how grateful we are to our education network, from our communications department and to our educational technology department. All amazing individuals that really helped us this evening. So muchas gracias a todos ustedes. Thank you for being here with us this evening. I really hope everybody enjoyed it. And Santiago, you want to say a last few words?
Of course, yes. Thank you everyone for attending this. We hope you enjoyed our celebration of culture and heritage of our Hispanic culture and heritage. This was absolutely amazing watching the performances. Having this last performance by Capoeira Carcara was absolutely amazing. This has been an absolutely amazing evening. And thank you to everyone for attending. Thank you, Patricia, for reaching out to me. I'm so happy I got to co-host this event with you. It has been amazing. Thank you.
Muchas gracias. Hasta la próxima. Adiós.